Alright, hello there everyone. My name is Michael. I'm a software developer, and right now we are going to look into some JavaScript. Just so you know, I'll be using ES6 syntax for JavaScript, so it would be nice if you know some bit of JavaScript. However, you can also join along if you are seeing this fresh from a fresh start. Okay, now I'm going to use Node.js, so I'm going to advise that you download Node.js. You recommend you come to Node, you use this URL here, and you download this model, this recent model here of Node.js. Then I'm using JIT as my terminal, so I'd recommend you also use this URL here. I'll show them in the description below, and you download for Windows or for Mac, depending on the system you're running. Alright, now as I mentioned earlier on, I'm using this. I'm building this project using Node, so I will be using its packages. So what I did here, you can see I already have established or pre-made files here. So what you will do on your side, what you can do by your side here is here on the terminal here. Let me show you, give me a moment. You can do npm init. You do npm, press enter, and follow the we call them follow prompts. What they do, follow the prompts. Press enter until you're done. Then after, once that has been established or that has been done, you receive a package.json here. Click into it, and just below description here, I'd like you to input this JSON information here, this JSON data here of type and module here, because the key is type and the value is module. Reason being, since we're using ES6 works with modules, and to be able to use some of these ES6 features, you'll have to have your files defined as modules. Okay, all right then, let's get into what I'm going to share with you. All right, now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to first introduce what I'm going to share with you. Or before that, I'm not using this terminal here. So the terminal that I'm using, I'm using the JIT. Once you've opened up a folder, anywhere you want to open the folder, you do a JIT. You open a JIT from that folder. And clear this. Okay. Because you open the JIT in that folder where this work is currently showing, and yeah, you run it from there. You run JIT from there. So what I'm going to do, so I'm using JIT on this kind of this work. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to talk about JavaScript objects. I'm going to talk about JavaScript objects. I'm going to talk about the let and const functions, and some ES6 functions, ES6, ES5 functions. That is the map filter, and also reduce. Then later on we shall build upon as we keep going along. Now what I'm going to show you here, I'm going to start first with the JavaScript objects here. I already built some, just so you know, don't have to worry about it. All I did is created a variable. I created a variable. I call it client list, because I'm going to assume we have information from. Let me just call it in quotes a startup, a fintech startup. Okay, not a fintech, but a small bank of fintech that handles customers. That handles that keeps customers' accounts, money, where a customer can deposit the amount of money they have, they can withdraw, they can even get some loans in case they go beyond what they have, the actual balance. So they can get it's more like a credit. Yeah, you can actually get credit for more than what they actually have currently in the bank. As you can see this, so I did a client list variable, of which I'm keeping an array, because I'm starting on with arrays, and in the array there are objects. There's a JavaScript object here which is holding a key and value pair. The key, you can say ID, name, age, sex, of the client individual, how much they've deposited, actual balance, withdraw, credit balance, and account. This is withdraw, how much they're withdrawing or what they have withdrawn. We're going to show them they are withdrawing daily. So that's it for that. Now what I did is just copy it and paste and change the names and the information here so that we can have something to manipulate with. Then later on I export it. So I'm going to export, I've exported this variable, this JavaScript object, so that it can be used by any other, file in the JavaScript in this directory, in this root directory. So as you can see, we have this, and the file that's going to be the executable file that we have here will be index.js. All right, you can see I just these are the values I have. You can have a look. Okay, and that's what we're going to be manipulating and playing around with. Okay, let's get to this module. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so what we're going to start with, kindly ignore this, and we'll get back to this. I'm going to start with what I've done in line 1. I've imported client list. This is one of the features in ES6, ES5, destructuring. So what I've done, since I've exported this, you can see I've clearly only pulled out the client list through this destructuring feature. And let's console log and see what's in there. Let's see how it has implemented that. I'm going to console log this. Okay, and check this out. So we do this, have a look here. I'm going to say node index.js because I'm telling node to run index.js. When you do that, we get all our information here. Okay, this is very good. Okay, I'm going to clear. All right. Okay, let's get back. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to say let clients. And what is const? I'm much more familiar, comfortable with const. I'm not going to redefine const clients equal. So I'm going to put the map value of what clients are, of what the value of the clients we're going to be mapping through. Mapping through, we're just going to iterate. Mapping is more like an iterator. We're going to iterate more like a loop function. So we're going to iterate through the values in the JavaScript object and have them displayed. We won't have them displayed in the console log. So here's what we're going to do. Client. So I'm going to say okay. I'm going to say client list dot map. Okay, it will bring in a callback function. So we shall I'll call this. I'm going to call it. I'm going to say clients. Actually, so I can be able to call this individual. I'll say client. Okay, one callback function is the client. Okay, the next one is the index that gives you how many they are. All right, since I'm going to use an arrow function. The advantage of an arrow function, you don't have to use a return statement. Okay, to automatically have that done for you. Okay, so I'm going to have this information logged. Okay, I'm going to get this, do this, and I'll say client. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. Moment. I'm going to do this. All right. Okay. So I'm going to console log client. I'm going to console log this client. I know this is okay. Check. Recall this. Brings us the same information. So the difference between the other one there, what I did in the first console log was this console log. Of course, this information is already displayed to just display the information, but here we have actually mapped out clients. So it's going to, you just actually done the client mapping, so we can do a lot of things with what we want to do here. For instance, what I could do, yeah, basically that. So usually you can use this at the front end of React when you want to display what they call React call rendering. You can display that specific information at the front end. You can do that. So what the next thing we're going to do, we're going to look into a filter method. All right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this out. Okay. Actually, I'm first going to do this. Comment this out. And I'm going to call this, oops, I'm going to say this is map. I'm going to put the next array, I'll call it, now the next function, I'll call it filter. Alright then. This is not filter, it's filter. Alright then, let's do this. So I'm going to reuse this function here. Alright. And instead of map, I'm going to put here the filter. Alright. Now the filter has a callback function. Now with the callback function here, it will help us identify what we want to filter. So what I'm going to do, here, alright then, now next thing we're going to look into, as I mentioned earlier, is the filter. Now we need to identify what we are going to be filtering. Okay, so if you remember, let me bring this back, the console log for this. Okay, if you remember, we have information here. So let me see, let me look at what I would like to filter. Since we have all this here, I'm using the terminal, I would like to filter out the males in this institution. I'd like to know how many males are there. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll come here and I'll say client dot sex. Okay, so that's what we have there. Okay, so say client dot sex is equal to, all right, okay, so we run it, will be equal to m. All right, I'm going to console log to avoid confusion. Okay, and let's see what we have in clients. Let's see if it will give us our results. All right, let's do this. Boom. Okay, there we have it in first clear. Let me do this. Let me clear this off. In first clear the terminal. Okay, then I'm going to repeat it. As you can see, all we have are m's. Only m's, which means we have, the list has been brought to us are only the list of all those who are male. Okay, and maybe perhaps let's look for those let's filter out those with a deposit of 0. Okay, let me say here deposit, I'm going to say 0. Let's press this is a number. Okay, and let's run this. All right. Oh, we have one individual by the names of Bob Oddman. Okay, this is getting interesting. So let me control Z back to M. Now the next function we're going to look at here is I want us to look at the reduce function. But before I get to that, what would I want to reduce? Reduce is more like I would like to add up. If I would like to add certain values. So how do we do this? Let me see if I can add all the deposits. Yeah. all the total deposits. May have a total all the total deposits. So how do we do this? It's quite interesting. Let me see if I can just first filter this and first comment this out. Let me see if I can just re-implement it. Okay, I want to explain this to you all. Don't worry about that. Now with this, okay, here I'm going to call this I'm going to call this sum. So what here, this is the name of a result number. It's client list. The name of the array is client list. So this is the reduce function calls into two arguments we're going to call in. We're going to call in two arguments, the accumulator and the number. The accumulator gives us the what number has been accumulated, and this gives us the current number that we are, the current value that we are on. So this, we add what has been accumulated plus the current. So it keeps on more like an iterating with a plus, more like a plus plus. And remember, loops, for loops, that plus plus. This has the this to give the plus plus effect. Okay, so here we have client lists. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. One we shall do is first map. Okay, first we're going to do this map, the same map that we did up here, line 6. Then we shall only get out the deposits. Okay, we want to only map out the deposits. So we shall say client.deposits. So it will give us all the deposits that are there, mapping out only the deposits. So if we can end up, if you console log this and have a look, you will see that we get deposits, an array of all the deposits that are there. So then we can now implement the reduce function, the reduce functions to add them up. Okay, so as you can see, this reduce function, we have reduce, call the accumulator plus the number, then it's accumulator plus the number. Okay, so when we add this up, because it's going to add, then it's going to add for us all these arrays. To add this plus this, that is accumulator plus number, the sum of this will turn into the accumulator, then to add to the next number. Okay, the sum of these three become the accumulator, then this becomes the next number, like that until it finishes all this. So when we do this, node index.js to give us the entire sum. So we know the entire total amount of deposits that are on the array. So we can do that with any other numbers that are there. All right, now on that note, I've shown you the major functions. Okay, there are also others, you can explore more. So this is what I had to show you in regards to this video. I hope you gained some benefit. So I'm going to thank you all. I'd like to thank all of you for viewing, and you can like this video if it has been helpful, so that someone else can also benefit from this. All right then, have a lovely day.